I can't believe it. Football, by the hell.
Football, bloody hell, eh? Yeah. Grabs you by the heartstrings. Good evening, ladies and gents. This is Killian, your host. And I am very pleased to welcome Chase as my co-host tonight. Chaser, how are you, bro?
Fucking beautiful, isn't it?
Note the sarcasm. Daza, Benno, and Masood, very welcome. How are we, boys? Well, stupid question.
Meh.
Not bad, mate. Not bad.
He's lying. And Masood, how are you, brother?
Could be better, but it is what it is.
You said it. It is what it is. To the listeners and viewers, you're very welcome to this magnificent 24/7 Reds podcast. So let's kick things off. What can we say about yesterday? Manchester United against Bournemouth at home at Old Trafford. Yesterday's kickoff was at 3 p.m. We got absolutely battered. 3-0. Could have been 4, 5, 6. And in my opinion, a new low. Total humiliation. It was the worst. It was the most humiliating game I've ever seen. Being a United fan, I'm nearly 37 years of age, and I've been watching Man United since I was 3 or 4 with my grandfather. Most humiliating defeat considering the opposition, and we are at home. We'll just do a quick whip around, thoughts on the game. I'll kick things off real quick. It was a shocker, an absolute shocker. But I will reserve a little bit of praise for. We'll start on a positive. Little bit of praise for Maguire and Sergio Reguilon. Bar those two, none of those players deserve to wear the shirt. As I said, could have been 4, 5, 6. We were totally overrun. It was just, I wasn't even angry after the game. I was just numb, absolutely numb. I didn't know what to say, didn't know what to feel. I wasn't angry. I wasn't surprised. And to be fair, Benno called this last week. You know, he called it the week before as well, to my disgust. But he's right. He was right. We got battered yesterday. Chaser, we just move on to yourself. What thoughts on the game yesterday?
Fucking hell. Emotions, man. Emotions. We say this every week. Our emotions are high. Don't get your emotions high, but we do it every week, and we get disappointed and drop down. Our hearts get snatched out of us every single week. And there's only 3 players I would say that worked hard, and that was Maguire, Onana, Reguilon, and Anthony. Other than that, those are the only ones I could say that actually produced hard work.
Chase loves sticking Anthony in there, but we'll let him away with it for now. Daza, what do you reckon?
A dysfunctional performance from a dysfunctional team for a dysfunctional club.
Surprised you're even calling them a team, mate. But
mate, like you all know me really well. I'm Mr. Optimism, and I just think we need to burn it. We need to burn it. All of them. The only one that's safe for me is Ten Hag, and even him I've got questions about yesterday. Yeah. But I still think he's the man, but he doesn't go unscathed. There's things he needs to answer, but just dysfunctional. It's a team of misfits. They're a band of misfits. That's what they are.
100%. Masood, thoughts?
After the Newcastle game and then the Chelsea game with United this season, is always 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and it's not unexpected and not surprising. But that's how he is this whole season. Is that you think we've turned the corner, and then something like this happens. So basically, we're going around in circles, and you're back to square one again. So it's basically all the shapes in geometry: circle, square, triangle. We don't know where we are and what we're doing. So it's difficult. It's difficult at this time in the sense that, like as I said, it's dysfunctional, and basically we're a bunch of individuals trying to play as a team. We're not a team where we have brilliant individuals. So it like I said earlier, it is what it is, and I don't know where we go from here. It's just I'm with Deza. I was always positive and optimistic, but I was even down after yesterday. I mean, it was just like you again. I was numb as well. It's par for the course with this team, and it's been like this for the last 5-6 years anyway. So
Yeah,
you always take the rough with the smooth.
Yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, pardon me, French, but these motherfuckers have gotten previous managers sacked. So, it gets to the point where you sort of shrug your shoulders and we move on to the next one because nothing surprised you. These players make me feel like a fool. I called 4-0 yesterday to United like a fucking idiot. And speaking of idiots, Benno. That was a joke.
he's on me. Oh, sorry. I'm just checking the room.
You gotta get the banter under wraps. Come on.
I yesterday was the first time in quite a while when I've got the result coming through, and I'll be honest. When I say I didn't care, I did. But when you just kind of go, like, and the best way I can kind of summarize this team, squad, group of players, they're fucking bipolar. You don't know what you're going to get. I don't understand. Well, I kind of do understand because they're a bunch of fucking idiots, majority of them. I don't understand how you can go from one extreme to another extreme in such a. I can't put my head on it. Now, as Daz has said, it's not just about the players here. I think questions are going to be asked about other areas in the club, obviously, as we know. But I'll be honest. I was out with a bunch of mates yesterday, and one of them next to me was a Chelsea fan, and I got even him fucking laughing at me. And I just feel like, mate, come at me. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm at that point. I don't give a shit. And it's horrible. It's horrible feeling like that because you say you don't care, but inside you're fucking hurting. Say again, mate.
How did Chelsea get on today? Do we know?
Mate, I couldn't give a fuck how they got on today. To be quite honest with you. But
same as the Barcodes.
But it's a bit numbing. It's becoming a bit numbing now, and something has got to give. And I'll be honest with you, I've got no trust. I've got no trust and no faith. So I'm expecting nothing. I'm expecting nothing. I expect the worst every week.
Yeah, but for the viewers and listeners, if you've never seen or heard Benno, he doesn't fuck around. It's straight to the point. Let's be honest, boys. The truth of the matter, the squad is simply just not good enough. It's not good enough. We touched upon it last week, guys, just in terms of who we'd actually keep. I'll just do a quick whip around. Well, this time we'll go the opposite end. So we'll go with Benno first and then Masood, Chase, Daz, and I'll finish it off. Just in 5, can we name 5 players that now we'll keep the youth aside, such as Garnacho and Mainu and the likes. So just 5 players, if even 3 to 5 players, if you can't name 5, maybe 3. Who would you keep out of this bunch of idiots?
Again, I'm going to base this on what I said last week, the way things are right now. First name would be Harry Maguire. I know he's not good enough to move us forward, but if you tell me keeping him, I would keep Bruno. I'd be keeping Bruno in that one. Mate, I'll be pretty honest with you. I'll probably Rasmus Højlund. I'm a big fan of that boy, but other than that, if any of them players turned up for somebody else tomorrow, I wouldn't be gutted. I'll be sad to see him go, or whatever, but I wouldn't. I can't. And I think that's a real shame, and that sums up where things are right now. If I'm being honest with you, and I think just quickly, but going off what you just said before, like the squad not being good enough. Where collectively the squad isn't good enough, but I'm going to say it brutally, honestly, it should be doing better. I'm sorry, the squad might not be good, but good enough for what? That squad or that 11 is good enough to beat Bournemouth at home, and that is no disrespect to Bournemouth. But
100%.
they should be doing better. It doesn't matter whether fucking Erik Ten Hag's in charge or local bloke down the co-ops running things or whatever. Like, I'm sorry, it's the squad is good enough, but what's it good enough for? I think that's the question we've got to ask. What is it good enough for? But anyway, sorry to go on. Next person, give us your five.
No, fair play, fair play. So we have so Benno went with Bruno, Maguire, and Hoyland. Masood, can you elaborate on that?
Like
Or
Benno, you're
what are your
struggling to name
choices?
three. Like Benno, you're struggling to name three. Never mind five, but 100% Bruno, Hoyland as well, and like Benno, reluctantly Maguire, because for the last month and a half he's been our best player, and he was solid again yesterday. But I mean, other than those three, you can make a case for everyone else leaving the club, which is a sad state of affairs. I mean, people used to die to play for United, and at the moment, United are a club where it's just here to have a party and make money and create waves, because it increases your brand and other stuff in life besides playing football, which is the worst thing ever in a football club. And for me, I'm like Benno. I mean, it's those three players that, for the moment, are the only three players you'll basically write on the team sheet every week for now.
Yeah. In a way, Manchester United Football Club epitomises modern football, to be fair. All about the money. No fucking passion anymore. It's just money. Money, money, money. Anyway.
I mean, Kilo, you get also a guy like Fabrizio and David Ornstein tweeting about which boot company the guys are playing with. I mean, in the 90s, you wouldn't worry what boots Pride Robson or Eric Cantona were using. Now we have to worry about what contracts they're getting in terms of boot sponsors. So it just tells you what you have to.
It's crazy. I remember when Paul Scholes came back from retirement, he just went into a store and bought a he didn't have a pair of boots, and he just went into the store and bought a pair. You know, sign of the times, sign of the times. Chaser. Name any player.
Well, I'm going to stay with my usual of what I said last time.
Of course.
Pipe down there, will you?
It's early, boys. Plenty of time.
Obviously, Onana. Reguilon for me. Reguilon's been a banger since he's come to us. Maguire's been our best player. The crazy thing about that is we never would have thought that. Nobody would have thought Maguire would be our best standout player this year at all. Obviously, Anthony and Raza. Those are the only ones I'd keep. And Bruno. I'd keep Bruno.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Daza.
So I'm going to go the complete opposite way here. If you're asking me to keep players to build for the next step, I'm keeping two players, and that's it.
Wow.
And the two players are Onana and Rasmus, and I'm burning the rest. Because I'm not being fooled or blinded by a great performance in our team or anything like that. They're just not good enough. Maguire, he's doing well, but he's not good enough. We know he's not good enough. Reguilon, he busts his balls, but he's not good enough to where we want to be. He couldn't get a game for Spurs. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'd burn them all. We've had in fact, I wrote down here 10 years of dysfunction, but it's not 10 years of dysfunction. It's 15 years of dysfunction. Remember when we couldn't get Karim Benzema because there was no value in the market? We couldn't get David Silva because there was no value in the market.
Aguero as well, wasn't it?
A lot of them.
Aguero as well.
All of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
Listen, I can't argue with any is there. I've actually changed. I've changed my list because if we're backing the manager, which we are, we'll come to that later on and see where we're at. But I had Aaron Wan-Bissaka in there. I got rid of him. I got rid of him because I know deep down Erik ten Hag, he's not the one for Erik ten Hag. So this is going to be really short and sweet. Bruno mightn't be his cup of tea, or in terms of the shape and formation and strategy he wants to go with or implement tactically wise going forward. But he's the captain, and he gave him the captain's armband, and I believe he would have him in the squad. So Bruno, and then the only other three are three of the signings: Leach, Anthony, and Hoyland. And they're the only ones, and that's it. Because I don't think any of the other players fit into his style. I don't think he wants any of those other players because they're not good enough. And it's as simple as that. And their football IQ is just dog shit. Because clearly they can't implement what he wants. And that's why we're piss poor.
I would have Martinez in my squad as well. That's so three. I can
Leach,
three.
Yeah, the reason I picked that Anthony and Leach, as we know, played for him. I'd probably throw Onana in, and the only reason I throw Onana, I don't want Onana. I never wanted Onana. I think he's a diabolical shopstopper. I won't. My opinion on this will never change. But he's a modern goalkeeper, and he played for Erik ten Hag, so I'm going to throw him in there. In terms of if Erik ten Hag gets the time, they're the players I think he'll have in that team to go forward. Yeah, it's tough to. That was difficult to try and even name a few. So
it's a simple kind of solution with that one. The majority seems to be that it's those that trust Ten Hag, trust the player. You trust in the players effectively. He brought in. Now I didn't say Martinez just for the fact he's been injured all season. To be, I think where it's looking at. You know, those that are putting their faith in Erik ten Hag. You're backing in with them players that, like I say, your Martinez, your Anthony, Onanas and stuff like that. So I think that's fair. I really do.
Just on the Erik ten Hag note, Benno, do you think? Let's be fucking honest here. Do you think he survives till January? Do you think he even first off, do you think he survives till January, and then do you think he survives till the season? And what are your thoughts on where he's at the minute, and do you think his job's under threat?
Yes. Now, I said last week that out of the Chelsea, the Bournemouth, the Bayern Munich, and the Liverpool game, that I think we will get 3 points out of them games. I can't see us beating Bayern Munich, and I can't see us beating Liverpool. That clip at the end yesterday of him on the touchline, do you know what yesterday was? That gave me flashbacks to Ollie at Watford. That, for me, again, I'm making this clear for the listeners again. This is not what I want. This is what I think. Okay, I think he's fucked. I really do. That yesterday was criminal. I think it was really bad. Now, I know 90% of it has got to go on the players. That once they're across the pitch, they should be doing better. But I've just got this feeling, and unfortunately, my opinion is completely outweighing my heart right now. My head is telling me, I think once this, whatever happens with the hierarchy of the club, shall we say, they're going to end up saying, you know what, we're starting again, and that means a new manager.
Do you think he's good enough? You've had to.
I'm on the ropes with it. I let me answer differently. I don't think he's bad enough, if that makes sense. I raised a couple of concerns last week that why can't he get what's happening? Is it all the players? Is it the way he's going across? That's the stuff that goes on behind the scenes that we don't know about. We can only speculate and assume by what we see and what we read. There just seems like such a big. It very much seems like manager and players There's none of that. There really isn't. I hope I'm wrong. I'd like to see him get it right, but I've just got a bad. I think it's going to be easier for them to fuck one manager off than it is to get rid of all the players right now. Anyway.
So do you think he lasts till January of the season?
I think he'd be lucky. He'd be lucky to get to January. I don't think he'll be here next year. I don't think he'll be managing next season. I want him to be, but I don't think he will be.
I'm gonna throw something at you
here. That's
Bennett.
Not something I'm happy saying. Yes, mate.
I'm gonna throw this at you. So the Man United team that played yesterday, Onana signed by Ten Hag, Delo signed by Jose, Harry Maguire signed by Ole, Luke Shaw signed by Van Gaal, Sergio Reguilon emergency loan, Amrabat same gig emergency loan, Scott McTominay promoted to the first team by Jose, Bruno signed by Ole, Anthony Ten Hag, Martial Van Gaal, Garnacho promoted by Ranić, Rasmus Ten Hag, Johnny Evans emergency one year deal under Ten Hag, Rashford promoted by Van Gaal, and Facundo Pellistri signed by Ole. That's 15 players. Of those 15 players, 6 were signed by Van Gaal, and 2 of the 6 are on loan, and the others an emergency fucking signing. Now, can Ten Hag do better and maybe stop playing players that keep underperforming? Yes. But if there's only around 30 to 40% of those players signed by him, with half of those on loan and a short-term fix at that, how is he meant to implement what he wants? You can't see his system and style shine because his style it's so nuanced and intricate, you know. So in my opinion, this isn't his team, right? And when it is, now what I will say, if he gets the time to get his team together and build his team, that's when I'll fucking judge him. But whether he gets that is a massive fucking question. But yeah, here, listen, we lost at home to fucking Bournemouth. No excuses. Under no circumstances should you be losing in that fashion. And we could have lost by 5-4, 5-6. I do believe he needs time. But
I think it's we've got to be. You know me, I always try to be consistent with my approach. Now, I've always been like this. It's a player, a manager, whatever. If you're going to give them praise for doing something good, they've also got to be open to getting criticised when they do something bad. And mate, like I said, I completely get what you've just said. That list of players, I fully get that, and I've always said you can't fully judge somebody until they've got the proper structure to do whatever the job is, whatever it is. But it's not good enough right now. Like I say, I'm worried for his job because I've seen it before. We've all seen it. I think Daz has got his hand up.
Yeah, Daz, you have your hand up. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah. So there's a lot of talk. I seen it online earlier yesterday. Fucking Richard Keys, blah 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 blah, about Ten Hag and systems and the players not buying into it and all that. And I think it's fair to question Erik Ten Hag's methods. If you're a manager of any club, your methods are there to be questioned and tested. But let's not bullshit that the players that are there can't play 4-1, 4-1. Let's have it right. They can. Could they do better? They absolutely could do better. And that's on them. They've got professional integrity and they should be doing better. The problem is, losing to Bournemouth yesterday wasn't a system issue or a tactical issue. It's it's players that we know 5 years ago weren't good enough, being incompetent in their roles. And honestly, I feel so sorry for Ten Hag because you can see what he's trying to do, but it goes back to not being able to squad build properly. The Man City team that Guardiola took over, that squad was built 5 years before he even got there. the nucleus of that squad. They built it over 4 or 5 seasons. Ten Hag's doing this on the fly. And it's fucking chaos, man. It's chaos. But
I
yeah,
think-
players hide behind like stats and all this kind of shit, but can't play a 4-1-4-1 or a 4-4-2. Come on, man. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? The manager's getting flung under the bus. These players, the core of this group, have got form for this. And that's what's happening now. Second season, they're throwing them under the bus. And I, for one, I'm going to stand up against it. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. I'm not having it.
Tracer.
Yeah, 100%. I think last year he was in more fear, so he had to just do what he needed to do to that these players would be successful. And I think this offseason, he was assured. Now we want to see what you can do with your system, your implements. And what are we seeing now? We're finally seeing him trying to implement his style, his way of doing things. And we're finally seeing that these players are not good enough. We have a manager here. Since Fergie, let's think about that for a second. We've had Mourinho, Van Gaal, Ragnick, and Ole, right?
Yeah.
Since Fergie, nobody has reached the 60% win percentage mark. The only one to do that.
I think.
Hold on. Not finished here. The only manager to do that in a season and a half. Think about this. Season and a half, right? Working miracles. 60% win percentage with this squad. Think about that for a second. That's not half his, right? More than half is not even his. 60%.
Ben, let me jump in just for 2 seconds before I hand it back over to you, right? I was mentioning this to the boys earlier on. I was doing a bit of a deep dive on some stats and historical stuff, right? So in 10 years, Man United have had 5 permanent managers, and they've had 3/4 interim managers, right? So let's call it 9. You've had 9 managerial appointments in 10 years. That's more than the previous 70 years in history. That is fucking dysfunction of the highest level, and it's malpractice, incompetence, and it's almost bridging on criminal.
So, and I'm gonna finish off here with he will stay. He will not get sacked. He will be here through January, and he will be here and make it through the summer. So, as of my sit down moment this week, it is sit the fuck down, Benno.
Bum, bum. Benno,
Yeah,
come
because
back.
I won't lie, Chase, mate. That has done fuck all for me because it's not what I want; it's what I think, mate. So it's the big. I'll be honest. I'll come back at you with that though. It's I think the big worry is it's the manners that we're losing games. We're not the only teams that haven't drawn a game in English football this year. Now, it's just we're quite lucky that the likes of Tottenham, Newcastle, they're all flip-flopping every week. They're all doing the kind of... We're very lucky right now. I heard something in the week. It's, we're only 3 points behind Man City. Since when is 3 points behind 4th place in the league an achievement? Is that something to be proud of? Is it something to be happy with? I just worry for the guy. I really do. And I'm going to say this to finish on this little bit. I hope he walks rather than get sacked. I'd rather see him walk. I'd rather see him tell the clubs, you know what, fuck off. I'm gone. You aren't backing me. I'm gone. And I'm going to put my skills elsewhere.
That's
I don't want him sacked, but,
That's one thing I've said, and that would be my feeling about him, is the type of person he is. I think he even got a whiff of a conversation, or if he had a sit-down conversation that we're thinking this and that, or if he even had that feeling, I think he would walk to save himself rather than getting sacked. I think he would.
I must say I disagree with that. I don't think so. I don't think the Dutch are like that. To be fair, I don't think. I don't.
I think he's too stubborn.
they're set in their ways. He won't walk. He's too proud a man. I think I do believe, like, he doesn't escape criticism. He doesn't. I for one don't understand why he keeps playing the likes of Rashford and Martial and underperforming players. But to be fair, a lot of them are underperforming. So he's doing what he can with the cards he's getting dealt with. But his stubbornness in terms of trying to play the way he wants without the team he has, or without the team he needs, it's to his detriment this season. He should have just kept with last season until he had that full squad, in my opinion. Until he had that full squad to implement that strategy and tactic. I think he should have stayed with what he did last season. I also agree with Chase. I think he will stay. I think he's very lucky we're in the middle of a takeover, and I think that's the reason he won't get sacked. And I think that's possibly the only reason he won't get sacked, because we're in this. So, yeah, Benno, you had your hand up there. Or Masood, Benno or Masood? Benno and then...
Yeah, sorry. So,
sorry, Masood, go ahead, and then Benno will hop in.
All right.
It's fine. I'm with Chase and Kilo on this one. I don't think he walks because he's too proud a man to do something like that, and he's very stubborn as well. And that's where he's also losing in a sense, he's losing his way in terms of his stubbornness with regards to his in-game management this season. The one caveat, Kilo, to your point about he didn't have his team. Let's remember at the start of the season, just as preseason started, I mean, we all thought Mainu was going to have a role in the team. And I think, what's his name, Martinez also came back too early from his injury. So that put the spanner in the works from the start of the season in terms of personnel he could choose, and which would have made a difference. And if you look at the last, especially Spurs and Newcastle as well, how the media are crying the fact that they have injuries, yet we get pelted for the same amount of injuries, even more that we have, but yet we must create miracles. Yet they get a pass in what results and stuff. Look, they're playing different brand of football to us, which is fair enough, and style of football and everything. But what I'm saying is that he at the start of the season, at preseason, he had some sort of plan and to implement, especially with the likes of Menu and maybe Martinez. But he didn't get to implement his first team as he wanted to at the start of the season, and he hasn't had for the 5 months we've been there. So it's difficult to say that, but he's been stubborn in terms of his in-game management. It was much better last season. When he made a substitution last season, our substitute scored the most goals in the league coming off the bench, which we haven't had this season. We haven't had that impact off the bench that we did last season, which to our detriment. Because I mean, and the thing is, our strikers and our forwards, I mean, we've scored 18 goals in the league in 15 games.
Scott McTominay is our top scorer, bro.
Exactly. So I mean, and if you take yesterday, like I said earlier, if you take yesterday, how many positions our wingers and our fullbacks got into, and instead of passing the ball to a better position, a person in better position, they shot or they gave the wrong pass, which makes a difference. If you look at Bournemouth's first goal, it was interception, one dribble, one pass, goal. Simple. Yet we always look for the impossible pass or the impossible shot. It's just that at the moment, and it's happening every game, because we don't take advantage of the time we are in the ascendancy in a game, and then our players, when they don't get that, they lose, their heads drop, and they lose confidence very quickly, and it's just a recurring theme. It's a recurring theme.
Yeah.
So I don't think he gets sacked as well. With regards to the ownership as well, because of that, you're right in the sense that I don't think the Glazers can afford to fire him as well. If the new owners come in, they probably give him the rest of the season to see what he does, and then they make a decision or call in the summer. But I think he's got the rest of the season. And in terms of what's happening off the field with regards to Sancho and things like that, they've backed him to the hilt, so they can't just throw it away now and just sort of throw him under the bus. but you've never. Stranger things have happened with the Glazers, so we don't know for sure. But for me, they can't afford to fire him and his staff as well. And then the thing is, who do you bring in? Because then the next manager comes in, he doesn't want half the players that he's here. They don't get rid of the players he doesn't want, and it's a recurring cycle, Groundhog Day.
Another
It's
cycle of
Groundhog Day.
bullshit.
Exactly.
That's
So
what-
then you have a good 1.5 seasons. They don't back him, and then we back to square one again, and then you go to the next one and the next one. We have to stop this nonsense of firing managers willy-nilly and playing to the media and playing to the noise online. It has to sometimes stop. Maybe we must take the pain of what the season is going to be, not qualify for Europe, not do anything, just get him to the summer, get rid of deadwood that have been here for 8 to 10 years, and let him work on what he wants to do for the next preseason. Get him his players in early and let him work from there. And then you judge him at the end of the following season. For me, that's what I would do, and then we can see from there. But his stubbornness has to change. I mean, if I'm reading correctly in this week about he's starting to lighten up at training and stuff as well. That's a step in the right direction. But these players also can't get what they want, where they were moaning about training. He's changed his ways, but then they revert back to type in a sense where they do the same things over and over again. They need to also catch a wake up and start being professional and doing things better themselves.
100%. Very well said, Masood. Benno.
Yeah, I think this is, whether it's naivety, whether it's still, obviously he's still a relatively young football, but I think, there was a quote he said the other week, I mentioned this last week, that he said in an interview with Sky, I think it was, that I wasn't brought in to do what I did at Ajax. Now, we know full well he was never going to be able to, because Ajax were the best, 9 times out of 10, they are the best team in that league. It's a bit like somebody going and managing Celtic. The expectation is they're always going to win that league. Whereas obviously United, different beast, and unfortunately, the pinnacle of English football. I've always been an advocate of, playing without the fear of failure. I've always been an advocate. I'd rather go down fighting than I would do nothing. But I've also been a firm believer of you have more than one plan. And what just really worries me is when things aren't going well, that's it. The game's done. There's none of this just win. Your Mourinho's, and even Fergie used to do it. And I hate comparing to old managers. I really don't like it. But how many times did we used to go and win ugly? We'd win 1-0 every week, winning ugly, because if you're not going to, the basis of winning a game of football is to not concede goals. And clearly, how many times have we said it? We are being overrun every single week. Even Chelsea in the week, I think we were talking about it. We said it could have been about 6-4 at half time. Another 3-4 down, potentially, if we don't put away our chances. That's on the players. That's up to the manager to see that. Second half, we got better. So he's only going to learn that in time. Now, whether that's the adaptation from Dutch football to English football, who knows? In terms of what you said about the takeover, I'll be honest, that's why I think, not what I want, what I have to keep saying it, that's why I think he could, because they're going to come in, and if Radcliffe and Ineos or whatever, and they take over football operations, for me, it seems easier to just go, why would we take the rear bumper off, the front bumper off? We might as well just strip the whole fucking car and build up from scratch again. So I actually fear the opposite, because it's a takeover. I think if the Glazers weren't up for sale, or after a strategic review or whatever, blah, blah, I actually think he'd be safer. And that's what concerns me. It's very easy for someone else to come in, put their shoes under the table, and go, we're going to bring in our man with our director of football, with our new CEO, and we're going to do this.
Yeah.
I'd love to be wrong.
Just a quick one on that, Benno. What happens if the new ownership and they come in with the CEO and their manager, and then the same thing happens to this coach 6 months later? Are we going to then just repeat the cycle again? Because you must remember, if Ineos come in, you must remember the Glazers haven't did anything with regards to football structure for 18 years, right?
Mate,
They're going to be under. They're going to be under more scrutiny.
I'll
They're going to be under more scrutiny than the Glazers.
Mate, I'll cut you off. I know that, but what I think that's that. Like I say, what I think and what I want is different. We know it's all a vicious cycle. We know it is, and something has seriously got to change. I just, you know, hate to say it, but you know, you look back at Chelsea, they won the fucking Champions League with Thomas Tuchel. New owners come in, and a couple of results went downhill, and they just fucked him off and brought somebody else in.
Yeah, but look,
who do you replace him with? That's my question.
Okay, so all right then, I'll give you some names then. I'll give you some names. We had a couple of us had this conversation in the week. Now I don't know how strong their ties are. Again, this is what I think. So let me say that. So I'll give you three.
Don't fucking say
names.
the Brighton. Don't say the fucking former Brighton.
No.
Fuck's sake.
You've got. I think if a director of football comes in, you could go down the route of bringing in a coach as opposed to a manager as such. So there's Amorim at Sporting Lisbon. With the previous Juventus connections, and if things are led to be believed with regards Jean-Claude Blanc coming in, it could be somebody like Allegri, who's a bit more old school, who's a bit more of a and I think they could end up looking at somebody like Graham Potter. I really do think that.
So you might have
if Ruben
you might have to pinch me here because I don't know if I'm still here or I'm fucking dead. Fuck.
We're in purgatory, bro.
No, just a quick one on that. If you bring in Ruben Amorim, who's done basically what Ten Hag's done in the Dutch league, he's done in the Portuguese league. So aren't we doing the same thing again?
Rinse and repeat,
mate. I know it's a rinse and repeat job. I'm just you've asked me to name some names that I think could get the job.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's the name I would, but I wouldn't want an Allegri because I mean the football he plays is dire. It's worse than Louis van Gaal was when he was here.
See, but again, I'm gonna Masood. The position that the club is in right now. What are you taking? Good football or results? If we want to talk about great football, Arsenal preached about that for years. They played the best football in the league, but they won fuck all. Who cares?
I'm not worried.
What we want to do
about football. I would take 38 1-0 result, 1-0 wins in the season. You win the league. Who cares if you only score 38 goals and win a trophy? But I mean, what I'm saying is there has to be some sort of stability sometime in the team. We can't like as I said, we've had basically 10 managers in 10 years. You're going to do it 11, 12, 13. When do we stop? The only thing we're missing is basically a joint head coach like what Liverpool did earlier in the 90s, early in the 2000s, where they had a joint head coach with Willie and basically, what's the other guy's name?
McAllister.
Yeah, whatever, they had a joint coach, So, I mean, that's the only thing we're missing in terms of what they did. Other than that, it's the same thing where we just basically going around in circles and circles. So, I mean, for me, I know what you're saying, Benno. I don't tend to disagree with you, but I mean, for me, we need to just stop, hold back, and put more responsibility on the players. And for me, even if the owners had some cojones, they would find these players weekly until they sort of toe the line and listen to the manager.
Like I say, I want this. I have to say, what I want and what I think are completely different things. I want exactly what you're saying. I want what everyone's saying. Yeah. I just think otherwise. And unfortunately, the way the club is right now, results-wise, performance-wise, everything, unfortunately, my opinion is completely outweighing my preference. That's where I'm at. That is where I'm at. And that's because everything is negative about Man United right now. So therefore, I'm negative about Man United right now. Worst case scenario, they're going to fuck the manager off. He's one of the best things that's happened to us in the last 5 years. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
Benno, Masood, he's just hung over. pessimistic wanker.
I'm not, mate. I'm not.
He's still
Give
dancing.
it to Eddie Cavani.
You know what, Beto? Sit down and sip that water, fucking, will you?
No, here, just gonna hop in real quick. So let's
Yeah.
talk Sport Network. John says, "Hey guys, nothing changes till we have a football structure." You're not fucking wrong there, John. Yeah, in my head, I'm very relieved to see online that the majority of fans are seeing through this bullshit and directing their anger towards these imbeciles that we have playing on the pitch, rather than the manager. There are some plastics that want Erik ten Hag out. They don't have a fucking clue. But thankfully, the majority of United fans are. The tide is turning now. From the manager, the focus is on these fucking idiot players now that have gotten previous managers sacked. Benno, go for it.
I'm going to ask a question now for. I'm going to go to Dazza for this one. I know what I think of this. To you, structure, because we've got a director of football, we've got this, we've got that. I know what I think a sporting structure is. What to you is a football structure?
So we need a functional executive department. So a proper functional CEO who is aware of his job. His job is to get the best people underneath him and keep them in lane. Don't get involved in transfers. Don't get involved in negotiations. Get the best in class. Underneath that, you need a sporting director. So somebody like an Edwin van der Sar, Jean-Claude Blanc, Ralph Rangnick, or somebody like that, just to sit in the pocket there and pull the strings on the football side of things. Underneath him, you should probably then have the director of football underneath him, working side by side with the manager, saying, this is what we need. This is what we need. Let's get it and get it sorted. And that's what we need. And that's what we've been lacking for 20 years.
Yep.
We've got John Murtaugh on there. I have to give John Murtaugh props because he is the guy that signed a lot of the youth that's coming through now. Without John Murtaugh, you don't have Garnacho for 100 grand, right? You don't have the Fletcher brothers that have just signed from Man City. So John Murtaugh is good at what John Murtaugh is good at, which is signing young players, identifying young talent and getting them to the club. There's no way John Murtaugh or Darren Fletcher should be anywhere near sporting director, director of football. Erik ten Hag must be scratching his fucking head, looking and going, how are these guys telling me who I'm signing? I heard a story the other week that Mason Mount was a John Murtaugh, Darren Fletcher club signing. So Ten Hag must be sitting there going, what the fuck is going on?
In fairness to maybe possibly debunk that, he was after him when Mount was on loan in AZ Alkmaar in the Dutch league.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
just on that, Kilo, if you read the United Stand, his interview with Andy Mutton, he dismissed that out of here, and he said he was a youngster when he was at Alkmaar, so it had nothing to do with him being in the Dutch league. So we can obviously he said it in the interview, but we have to take the guy at his word. I mean, you can't say that he's wrong, but he's put a lot of those issues to bed in terms of only signing players who played for him before or playing in the Dutch league. Yeah. So I think that's a very important interview. If you guys get a chance to read it, go have a quick score at it. It was very informative. So
but that's
it answer a lot of questions.
I hope he was an Erik ten Hag signing. I really fucking do. Because if
he said he was, and he hasn't. No, he said he hasn't settled because of his injuries this season. But he says he's a young English player.
I'm willing to give Mount time. I'm willing to give Mount time to see what he can do.
Yeah.
I think there's a player.
And for me, he might be a Bruno replacement if Bruno decides to go, or if we decide to sell him. For me, he might be the Bruno replacement. So that's my take on it. And he's 24.
That's 25. That's been my thinking all along. When Mason Mount was brought in. I think it's phasing Bruno out. Now, the only reason why I say that,
You said earlier you'd keep Bruno though to move on.
I said why Mason Mount was brought in to eventually phase out Bruno. Does it say that I want Bruno out? No. I said he would phase him out. So, you can sit the fuck down, will you? Thank you.
Rewind.
So, like I said, I think Mason was brought in to be the replacement. And I think Mason offers what Ten Hag wants, which is creatability, but also keeping the possession without going wild.
And also positional discipline.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I tell
you, that's why Anthony plays all the time.
If Mount is the Bruno replacement, he needs to up his output when he plays. The output needs to be there.
Needs to stay fit as well. Needs to sort his body out.
Bruno's always fit. I mean, Bruno never made it on my list to keep, by the way. I think Bruno's 29, coming up for 30-ish. I'm happy.
I don't think there's going to be much legs longer because the guy never rests. He plays every week.
Every week he plays.
But he won't be playing. He won't be playing next week.
He's got to rest next week
after his yellow card.
Yeah.
Because for being stupid.
I think that's a bad thing for him.
Did I call that? I called that last week, didn't I? I called it. Fucking called it.
I don't fucking blame him. He's probably sick of playing with these misfits. But just before we move on, one of our magnificent 24/7 Reds, Philo, wanted to say a few things. He couldn't make the pod, unfortunately, but he has some notes here. Would someone like to read it out, or will I?
Yeah,
I
can't.
Hold on.
All right, yeah. So things Philo wanted to address, basically in terms of the Ten Hag subject. Why is Martial kept? Why is he kept on being played? Why is he continued to be selected? He added no value yesterday, Philo says, and doesn't warrant a place in the reserves, let alone the first squad. I'd echo them sentiments, even though they're harsh as hell.
I'd
Get him out for free in January. I'd rather have kept Weghorst. 100%. They're polar opposites. Hard work over talent every fucking day of the week, and that goes for all of them. Philo goes on to say, Erik Ten Hag, I'm still behind the manager. Good man, Philo. But I'm starting to question some of the decisions. That's a fair point, as we all are a bit. Martial's inclusion being one of them doesn't allow consistency when it's available. I'll just elaborate on that. So obviously during the week, we looked great. Well, not great, but we looked decent enough against Chelsea, and the movement was really fucking good in terms of the front three, Garnacho on the left, Raza, and Anthony on the right. That looked great, but again, he changed it. Like how you can't expect results and consistency if the team is changing every fucking game. It's impossible. You can't. The team won't gel, and then throw in all the injuries. So it's just been a disaster. But I'll just keep on going with what Philo has to say. Injuries have stuttered that opportunity this season. Granted, but he had the chance to select the same winning 11 from Chelsea. I'm echoing here. Changing a manager won't change anything. But Philo wants to state the following. Vast majority of the side yesterday are not any of his signings, as I alluded to earlier. Maguire, Shaw, Dalot, Bruno, McTominay and Martial, his signings in the side yesterday. Reggie on loan. I went through that earlier. His point is that it's never near his own squad. Not even near. Some questionable signings, but Fergie wasn't always right with his either, and that's a very good point. To be fair, all managers, it's a coin toss unless they've played for you before and the way they train and their discipline and their work ethic. So Philo says, persevere with Erik Ten Hag. As shit as it was or is right now, The above clearly shows that he's missing around 2 to 3 previous managers' players, and that's the truth of it, as I alluded to earlier as well. Unfortunately, and this is hard to read out. Philo's fallen out of love with the club. He doesn't enjoy it anymore. He used to have such a good buzz going to the games, or even the night before, like a kid on Christmas Eve, like all of us. Couldn't wait to travel up, get a few beers, and enjoy the football for what it was. He just feels empty. He feels empty this weekend. Didn't even want to go. He sat lifeless in the stand. The only emotion he felt was the anger of the shit show that he was watching. Watching Martial contribute nothing. Rashford, when he came on, ran straight into 3 players aimlessly, like he was in the fucking Incredible Hulk, thinking he could run through walls. Our midfield was more open than a 24/7 Tesco. It's as true as day. And yeah, 100%, Philo. He's Philo slowly and surely falling out of love with the club he used to adore. He's tired of patching up his views on performances and to back them. Sick of picking tiny moments and gains to spin a positive on the recent performances we've seen, which should be a given in a basic game of football. You know, he's and Philo sort of finishes off with this passionate little bit here. As a season ticket holder, the blunt truth is he doesn't want to go anymore. And he goes because it would just be a waste of his hard-earned money that he spent for the privilege. He gives up his time with his family and children to go to support these lot. He was guilt-ridden yesterday after watching that performance. In the piss and rain, mind you, and we know the fans. One of our mates, TC, travelled up from London in the pissings of fucking rain to watch that garbage, and then get caught in fucking traffic on the way home. And like, do these players fucking know or want to know the dedication?
Mate, I'm telling you now, that unhappy relationship that you just can't get out of. That's what
it's
they
a
are.
hate-love relationship.
That's what they are.
It's that relationship. You're going out with a chick, and she's fucking everyone behind your back, bro. But you keep on fucking forgiving her. That's what it's like.
Yeah.
That's what it's like.
It's worse and worse.
These players, each and every one of these players is pegging us, and we keep coming back.
Yeah,
it's
a peg for all, bro.
Cracking dinner. That's what it is.
It's pegging.com, bro.
And I don't think, and I'll say this right here,
bro.
I don't think these players give a fuck about us. They don't give a fuck if we go or if we don't. It's all the fucking money. Each and every one of those privileged money pricks. That's all they fucking care about. They don't give a fuck about us. Fuck them. Fuck them all.
I'm gonna let me jump in. I'm just gonna tell you this quick story, right? So I was telling some of the boys earlier on. I was talking to Uncle Barney yesterday and today. He's watching just now. He's been watching Man United since the early '60s, right? He missed the Busby Babes, but he got the Trinity. Watched them all. Then went through the '70s. Watched them in the '70s. Got relegated. He went home and away. Home and away. Went through all the '80s, the '90s, got me involved, we started going, all that kind of stuff. And he's telling me, you know, the players, he doesn't even think the players fucking like each other. He's like, these players now, they're multi-millionaires. They come, do their job, and then fuck off back to Brazil or fuck off back to Argentina. Back in the day, Brian McClare, Mark Hughes, John Gidman, all these guys, Remy Moses, you meet them in the pub afterwards. You'd have a drink with them. Yeah. And they were like a gang. Not anymore. Football's changed, man, and it's changed forever. It's
clicks left, right, and centre. And
the only thing you'll see them for is after the match, they'll go sign a few shirts after the match, head off in their fucking Rolls Royce, and go home. The pricks, each and every one. They don't give a fuck. All they care about is their next paycheck. Where can we go on vacation? Oh, let me go on the catwalk for you. Yeah, fuck off.
You love that catwalk. I'm going to give you a bit of positivity, right? A bit of positivity from one of the chatters. Jamie Kennedy, you've stole my stat. I was going to hit them with a stat, and you put it in the chat and stole it. Everybody's going on about Anana just now, right? Everybody's going on about him. Killian didn't even want him. He would take him now, but doesn't want him.
Yeah,
Right?
I'll hold that here. Look, Jamie Kennedy's given me stick in terms of a shot stopper. Is that
Go on,
guy for
Jamie.
real? He hasn't got a clue. Yeah. Listen, that's fair. And then he hits me with a 70. Then he hits me with a stat save rate of 78%, best in the league. And you talk about a shot stopper. Have you seen the goals he's fucking let in? Have you?
Let me tell you. Let me add. So let me add though, Killian. At this point last season, right? So Onana.
Should have gone to Specsavers, bro.
See if you could do a comparison of Onana and De Gea. This is going to tell you where we are as a club. Onana has faced double the amount of shots as De Gea faced at the same point last season. He's faced a double amount of shots at goal.
Well, I tell you something, Dazza, and Philo alluded to it in his message, which I didn't get to. We should have fucking kept De Gea for another year and spent that money on a fucking Ignacio or a Silva, centre back or somewhere. Or we could have got. Fuck me! Why didn't we get Kim?
I'm gonna. I say not challenge that though, but for me, that I don't think that's the defence's necessarily issue there because we're talking about how good Harry Maguire's. But the problem is the midfield. You could put Ferdinand and Vidic in that back four, and we would still get our pants pulled down because they do not control. They do not control it. So we could have gone and spent 50, 60, 70 million on a defender.
No, but
same as the other way. If you put Maguire and Johnny Evans behind with Michael Carrick, Paul Scholes, and whoever in the midfield, they'd be the best defensive back four in the world. Because they've got the best midfielders in front of them.
I think.
But Benno, let's flip it on its head though. Then spend the money on a fucking midfielder. Then
I think this.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, like if you said that, I'd be going. Yes, I completely agree with you. It's because you obviously brought up a defender.
And I'll go back to this. This is the biggest reason why he wants Frankie De Jong. Biggest reason why he wants Frankie De Jong.
Chase, let me just come right in there. And this is just the point where I'm going to slam dunk it, right? So I looked at the game yesterday, and I'm that sad I watched it back again this morning just to see what I was talking about. And Benno's hit the nail on the head. The problem, the defence is cardboard, right? We know it's cardboard. It was cardboard 3 years ago. The problem is you've got Amrabat in there who, yesterday I criticised him. When I watched it back, you've got Bruno running about like a fucking King Charles Spaniel over there. And you've got Scott McTominay who thinks he's fucking Maradona. And he's in the midfield himself being fucking overrun. He's overrun every fucking week. Amrabat was screaming at them yesterday. I watched it back today. He's standing in the midfield himself. And he was going in between the two centre-backs to help them out. The problem is Bruno has got no positional discipline. And Scott McTominay's just not fucking good enough. And that's where we are. We need new midfielders. Big time. Big time.
And what Daz is saying there is that's where I think a manager should be taking ownership and seeing that the system or that midfield, that style of three is not working. Play Amrabat and Mainu. Try it. You know, Lindelof, I know he was injured yesterday. Lindelof's played in the holding midfield role before. So pack up the midfield then. How many times I'm doing it again, years gone by, did we used to play with like 4 centre midfielders to make sure that we kept control? We go, if you want to win the game, you need to control the midfield. Now, realistically, Eriksen's a big miss. I know he's in his early 30s, but he's good. He's our best technical footballer in the midfield. He's one player that's good at keeping the ball. He's a big miss. So realistically, do you go with... Maybe shut up shop. Like I said before, we're being overrun, and that is what's exposing the back four and the goalkeeper. And unfortunately, when you are exposed, and that's when you look your worst. And again, I know I've been critical of some of these players, and I think we all agree. But on the flip side, more I think about it, again, maybe I can't. Yes, Onana's had some fucking shockers, but maybe I can't judge him properly until he's got a proper structure in front of him or so forth. So, but that's on the manager. I think he needs to. We can see that we're being overrun. Stop over. Did you see the Bournemouth manager's conference interview afterwards?
Yeah.
We knew that they were going to throw bodies forward. We would let them come onto us, and we could overrun them.
I think Ten Hag's caught
How
between
easy
a
was
rock
it for them?
and a hard place. I think he's caught between a rock and a hard place. Because how do you leave McTominay out? He's top goal scorer at the club. So he's got no Casemiro. He's got no Eriksen.
Yeah.
He's blooding Manu slowly, which I agree with. And I know that we're protecting Rasmus as well, which I also agree with, but we were desperate yesterday. But I think he's stuck because I think, listen, if we can see it, Stevie Wonder can see it, Erik Ten Hag can see it. But I don't think he trusts some of them players to change it. And that's why he's playing 4-1-4-1, because he's like, I know I'm going to go overrun, so I'll get Amrabat to drop in between the two centre-backs to at least give an extra body there, because I've got no one else there, because, like I said, Bruno's chasing fucking carrier bags and McTominay's fucking playing Maradona. It's just...
In fairness,
Bruno's
chaos, man.
Trying to catch
I think with Bruno, he's trying to do everything, because there's players on that pitch like fucking Martial and others that aren't fucking doing anything. So he's trying to cover load. It's a mess.
I would love Bruno to just grab a hold of Martial in the fucking dressing room and put him against the...
Just a quick one. Ian Barron, thanks so much. Have liked and subscribed, guys. Good luck with your channel. And just to put our bitching and moaning into context, Ian Barron, he goes on to say, to make us feel all better about our situation.
It could always be worse.
Hi guys, I'm a Darlington FC fan. We were made bankrupt in 2011, reformed in 2012, demoted 4 leagues, and we're currently a part-time fan-owned National League North club. We have had 3 promotions today. Up the Darlington FC fan, Ian Barron, thank you so much, and thank you especially for making us feel better about ourselves and our club now after hearing that.
I tell you what though, Ian, mate. Good luck at you'll be playing at the Etihad in a couple of seasons, mate. Once that court case is done, they can be doing that. Come on.
And that specific date, we can all celebrate together.
Yeah.
Here, just to move on a bit, we have a bit more, just a little bit more to cover. To be fair, so I'm going to start off with Masood, and then come to Benno, and then go Chase Daz, and then finish out myself. Just in terms of the season, lads, as we've seen today, Chelsea lost, City lost yesterday, Arsenal lost. Who else? Spurs. How did Spurs get on?
They beat Newcastle.
They won 2-0 against Newcastle.
There you go. Newcastle lost again. So it's going to be up and down. There's no team really in a specific amount of form in terms of getting the way. Well, to be fair, the Rats are doing not too bad, but we won't discuss them. Just so moving to the specific question, where do you think we're going to end up this season, Masood? And do you personally think we're going to get top 4? Are we just going to? Is it just going to become worse and worse?
Top 4 is difficult in the sense that, like Benno said earlier, we've sort of a bipolar team. Like I said even earlier, is 1 step forward, 2 steps back with these guys. Yeah. When the backs are against the wall and they need to pull out the performance, they do it like they did against Chelsea, and you'll probably see it against Bayern Munich on Tuesday, and maybe again on Sunday against Liverpool. Yeah. But you go and play a sort of mid to lower team, they then down tools, because it becomes too easy for them in a sense, because they are superstars and they just need to walk on the pitch and they won the game, which is not. And against the teams like that, you sort of have to work twice as hard as the teams that you sort of in and around. But away from home, we haven't done in the last 2 years. We haven't won against a top 8 or top 9 team. So it's a catch-22. But because the season, every team can beat everybody else. It's quite bunched up in sort of top 6 in a sense. Even the Rats are not too far away. I mean, even if you look at their last 2 results, they've pulled out sort of last-minute winners in the last 2 games. So it's not like they're playing brilliant football and sort of running away with anything. They can be beaten in the next. They can be beaten as well. It's just that their strikers or their forwards they don't give up, and they clinical when it comes time to crunch time in a game. And I'll give you a stat now. Klopp has now got more stoppage time winners than Sir Alex Ferguson in the Premier League.
Thanks for that, Masood. We're just going to... I think Masood's getting technical difficulties. I think he needs to fuck off. Yeah, I'm just buzzing, brother. Don't ever come with any Liverpool bullshit. I'm just joking. Benno, what? So, sorry, Masood. Just to finish off with, so do you think we're going to get top four, or how do you think we'll finish this?
I can't see us squeezing a top four, but it's just a matter of getting all the players from injury back and sort of then getting a consistent team playing a consistent number of games. And if we do go on a run of maybe 10 games or so where we sort of get 8 wins or whatever it is, you can sort of get up there and maybe sneak into a top four. It also depends on what happens on Tuesday night, if we crash out completely of Europe or we end up in the Europa League, which is very important as well, because then that derails your season in sense of Thursday, Sunday.
The Europa League, please.
No, it has to be said, because that's reality of life, I suppose. But
I'd rather us lose the fucking.
Look, all three scenarios are open. Either we can crash out and sort of only have the FA Cup and the league to worry about going forward this season, or we have the Europa League, or we even have a miracle of playing it on one knockout round in the Champions League again in February. So it's open ended. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah. Let's see. Benno, what are your thoughts? Where do you think we're going to end up, or do you think we'll get top four, Tyler?
So in answer to your top four question, I'm going to say no. I think we'll do well to. My main reasons for that. Now, there's a couple of. I won't go loads into it. So you got a couple of things to potentially weigh up. So European football, you've got Villa, Newcastle, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, and obviously ourselves. A lot could change in the next 7 days in terms of what happens there. A blessing for us. I think we need to get knocked out of Europe if we want to have any chance of finishing that sort of top five. Of course, any competition I go in, any game we play, I want us to win. But long term, I think we need to suffer this week. January window has an effect because we've seen it before. When Bruno Fernandes was signed in that January, how much he transformed things. My big worry is, and that I'm going to use a word beginning with R here, which I think we severely lack, and that is resilience. Go down, that's it. Game's done. If you look at, and you got resilience, and the fact we're not scoring goals, simple as Villa are flying and scoring goals, Arsenal are scoring goals, City are scoring goals, Tottenham, they scored 3-4 goals again today. They're scoring goals, and Liverpool, they're doing it as well. They're doing the job, and unfortunately, and I just worry that, for those that saw any of the City and Spurs game last week, City went to the Etihad. Spurs went to the Etihad last week, and they had a right fucking pop at them, and they put 3 goals past them. Not many teams will go to the Etihad and score 3 goals and not come away with 3 points, or the fact they come away with a point or whatever. There's no resilience, and we don't score enough goals. I don't think we're going to beat enough teams to do it. I really don't. We talk about how Newcastle, Newcastle Spurs, they're 1 week they're beating somebody, 1 week they're not. We don't win enough games. For me, we're not going to be. I don't think we're going to win enough games, especially when it comes to those that are up there. That's our top 6 will be lucky.
Yeah, that's, to be fair, that's a fair statement. Chaser.
Well, I'm going to break something here.
Breaking news.
I hope it's not wind.
Manchester United will be in a title charge. Here we go.
Delusion at its finest. What's the? Are you trying to be there, Chase?
Fabrizio Romano, I do believe.
Well, a Super Bloody Mario.
There's a water bottle and sit down, so fuck it.
No, Chase, what do you
Don't
reckon?
start.
What do you reckon?
Don't start. Don't start. Go on, mate.
Yeah, his head's banging from all them fucking mocktails last night, bro. Yeah, Chase, go for it. Can you hear me now?
I'm in the funnel, bro, but we're in a title challenge here. I do believe we will get it. I think we'll get top four. I think we'll find it there. I think it's going to take a little bit more time than we think. I think, as Fergie always said, you always want to be the position that we're in right now. You always want to be in around that coming January, and then really start to hit a little bit of a stride. I think with players that we're going to have coming back is going to be hugely important in the second half of the season. That's where we need to really kick on. And I think with Licha coming back, Casemiro eventually coming back, I think we really need to hit strong, and I think we will. I think we'll hit our stride.
Very good. Benno has his hand up. Do you have a question, Chase?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, just a quick one. So Chase, I'm genuinely intrigued to see your answer here. So I'm not trying. For that to happen, then you spoke about Martinez and Casemiro. What needs to change? Because right now, like I say, for where I'm sat, I can't see what you've just said. I can't agree. So you tell me why or how. What's got to change? Sorry, for that to become the outcome.
I think the most important thing, one of the most important positions, obviously, is for structure in that back line. And I think Licha really brings that. I think this is where really Ten Hag is really missing is Licha's leadership in that back and the way he can bring the ball up. He's one of our. If you look at it last year, summer this year, who was our most dominant person on that back line that could bring it up safely, calmly, without any hesitation? Who would you rely on? One person.
Yeah, he's the connection from the back to the midfield.
And that's
what I'm going to say as well to counter that. That doesn't stop us getting overrun in the midfield, mate.
But that also keeps.
He played away at Anfield. We conceded 7. He played away at the Etihad. We conceded 6. That doesn't stop the midfield getting overrun.
That's yeah, but we're not on the level of City and fucking Liverpool. If we can contain ourselves against
last year, so why are now all of a sudden they now miles above us?
They've been miles above us.
Mate, look at their back line. Who's that guy that played with Van Dijk yesterday? I bet none of us have ever heard of him before. I just don't see how Martinez changes things. Yes, he makes things better at the back, but it doesn't stop the midfield being overrun when that is our biggest problem.
To be fair, he had Steele.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Just I don't see how that improves the midfield. I really don't.
It keeps
we said before, you could have Ferdinand and Vidic in this back line. We'd still get our pants pulled down and be overrun. That's the reality, the way I see it.
I think that's your sit down moment, Chase.
yeah, you could fuck up.
It's 1-1. It's 1-1. We'll give Benno that one. Yeah. Daza, what are your thoughts on this?
So I'm torn, right? Because I agree with a lot that Benno said about we don't score enough, we don't win enough, we actually don't draw enough, we don't scuff games enough. So we're losing bitty points when we probably should be drawing games. But you know me, man. I think we're in a title charge.
We're going in a title charge.
This is what I think, right? I think we're in amongst it just now. We're in amongst the pot. We're up there. I think January is going to be a big month for this club. I think there's a lot of players coming back fit. Amad Diallo, first full week training this week. Licha should be back. Eriksen hopefully might be back. I don't know. Casemiro. So there's a lot of things happening.
Well, Casemiro's back on the grass. I don't know if you saw that before we came on.
I think
he's back on the grass.
I also think we may hear something about a takeover, and we may get some funds released, and we may buy another striker. So then that changes the dynamic. We may
And
buy a little
pigs
striker, we
may
may buy a
fly,
little
bro.
midfielder. Say again?
Pigs may also fly, bro.
Listen, anything's possible. Anything. If you can dream it, we can make it happen. But
we might.
in
We might for the
realist,
first time.
I think we get top 4. I think we get top 4.
We might for the first time see Benno fly.
Yeah, that
So
was
you
soft.
call him,
You
you
can
call,
do
you
better.
call him
Chase, you can do
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Ranger now.
better.
He's leading the line as we speak.
Just so I'll just finish off in terms of the where I think we'll finish. I do think we'll scrape top 4, and the reason I believe we'll scrape top 4 is Spurs are Spurs, and I don't believe they'll get top 4. I think they'll bottle it again, and I don't think they have the squad depth either. Not saying we do, but I think it finishes. City, Liverpool, and Arsenal are going to be top 4, and I think we'll nick it over Spurs and Newcastle personally. That's just me being a stupid optimist as well, like Daza. But yeah, that's where I think we're going to finish. I think we'll scrape 4th position.
Is 5th place Champions League spot potentially?
I don't know.
Yes.
Is there clarification on
Yes,
that?
yes.
No, there's a lot of
Yes.
Top 5.
top 5.
Possibly,
well then, yeah. I think we'll.
It's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed.
It's a qualified.
It's not guaranteed, but it's a possibility.
But can I tell you how much of a fall off as a Man United fan is that you're fucking excited about top 5 finish? Jesus.
Yeah, to be fair, all I want is for Erik ten Hag to survive the season. I couldn't give a fuck where we come. Benno has his hand up. I think he has a question for the panel.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I want to ask one here, and I think this would be quite a good kind of bringing things down a little bit. So, Killian, you said at the start about the squad is not good enough. So, this becomes my question: is good enough for what? So, therefore, if at the end of the season is top 4 overachieving,
yeah,
or is that our level?
No, it's overachieving.
Is top
overachieving?
Okay, so therefore, what should be with this current squad that is not good enough? What should be our base?
10th.
And I think this is where we need to come to terms with where we are right now. What is our base?
Where we are.
With the other clubs around us, Benno, including Aston Villa, Newcastle, and Spurs, we probably around the top 8, sort of 7, 8. That's our level at the moment.
I would say
even if you add Brighton to that, so
I would say
our overachieving if we get top 4.
I would say our level is from 10th to 5th. That's our level. That's it. Anywhere between one of those. That's our level.
I think last season was an absolute level.
I'll tell you now. Yeah. So we have the top. We'll call out the teams, right? Liverpool, light years ahead of us. Arsenal the same. Well, not to be fair, Arsenal, yeah. Aston Villa, unbelievable. They're overachieving at the minute, but they're such a well-run club. They're the way a fucking they're the fucking template for how a football club should be run, and we'll throw Brighton into that as well.
The whole top 5.
Spoke about Emery last week.
Yeah. And then they got Monchi. It's a very well run football club. The polar opposite of ours, and throw Brighton into that, as I said as well. So Liverpool, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Brighton, City. Well, we won't even talk about City. Fucking different universe to us. Spurs. We're probably around Spurs' level and Chelsea's level, and Newcastle are better than us as well. So yeah, you're looking at around 7th or 8th, I'd say.
And that for me, that sums up all now. Sums up Man United Football Club right now, because when have we ever answered like that? Never.
Yeah.
And that for me hits the nail on the head. That's all I want to say on it.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. to leave on a fucking positive note there before we hang ourselves.
1983 all over again.
Oh fucking hell! Yeah. Just to finish up, I'm gonna yeah, fuck off.
fucking.
I'm just gonna do a whip around. We go Dazza, Chase, Masood, and then Benno just to finish off. So, fucking hell, where do we go from here? It's fucking scary hours, boys. We have Bayern next, and then we have fucking Liverpool. I'm not sure if there's a game in between, but couldn't give a fuck. Will Erik survive this? I know we touched upon it earlier, but and then just in terms of that, can the Glazers afford to sack him even if they wanted to, because of the current takeover process? I know we sort of alluded to this, so we'll just talk about the Bayern and Liverpool upcoming games and how the fuck does he survive this?
I'm going to call it now. Killing. I think we win both games.
Mic drop. Yeah, I think Daz has been drinking a lot of alcohol today.
I think we win both games.
Smoking. Wow.
Both games.
Wow.
Both. On the record, both games.
Love it, Daz. I love your stupid optimism because I share that. We're both fucking stupid. Chase.
He's with me.
I think
Going on a title challenge.
Here's something special here. I think we beat. I think we destroy Liverpool, and I think.
You know, man.
Words, man, big words. I just said win.
Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs.
When we come back to this and we destroy Liverpool, then you can thank me.
I fucking will, bro. I'll lick your fucking boots, bro.
They need a shining, bro. And I think we pull it. I think we pull it against Bayern, but I think we destroy Liverpool.
Fucking hell!
I think we win both games.
Fair enough.
Bayern,
I think you're absolutely fucking bonkers, but fair enough. Benno, Masood, sorry.
I'm with Dazza on this. I think we beat Bayern. Bayern also lost yesterday 5-1. If you guys had a look at that, in the league.
Yeah, saw that. Yeah, Frankfurt.
And the thing with the Liverpool game is that I think we haven't won there for like 8 or something years now at Anfield. And sort of Murphy's law says when things are down, and it's just that sometimes something has to happen where you get a win or a draw or whatever it is. I just have a feeling we get a result at Anfield. It might look we might be 100% wrong, but I just have a feeling we get a result at Anfield. Whether it's a draw or win, I think we're going to get a result at Anfield.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, fair play, Masood. Yeah.
Ben's going to hit us with some realism here.
Oh fuck.
We had a party last night, so it has to be a pooper tonight.
Is this realism?
Nah, it's funny.
Yeah, let the negative Neanderthal fucking speak, will you?
It's funny. It's funny because I actually did something controversial going into this weekend, but which I'll get onto. So beat Bayern Munich, but either way, I don't think we're going through this week. So yes, it'd be great to win, but I'm sticking to what I said the other week. I thought we'd win one game out of the next 4, and Liverpool. I put Mo Salah in my fantasy team with an eye on the Man United Liverpool game next week, so I know he fucking loves it against us. There's money involved, so I've got a bit, I've got to do it. That's grounds for banning from the pod for the next week, next month or so.
I mean, Masood,
he's got money involved in this.
I'm sticking to what I said last week. I think we win one game out of the next 4. We're 2 games in and we've won the 1. What goes from there? I fear the worst.
Yeah.
I think the club's that bonkers we win the next 2.
You fear, and I'll celebrate.
Mate, it's. I think what I just want to. This is where I'm at right now. I'm expecting the worst every week. Anything better is like hats off moment. It's fucking jump for joy. It's celebration time. I'm expecting to lose against Bayern Munich. I'm expecting to get dicks next Sunday.
Yeah.
If we go away to Anfield and get a 0-0 draw, I'm going to be fucking well happy with that, because that's one game every season I expect us to lose.
Yeah.
where I'm at. I don't expect us to win a game of football right now. And I'm
What
sorry.
about right now? I take a draw right now. It's not
Yeah,
the
too fucking
Yeah.
right. Too right. I did my prediction going into the Bournemouth game, and I fancied us to. I said it would be harder because they'd work harder than Chelsea, but I fancied us to have enough quality on the pitch to win the game of football. After that shit show yesterday, I have no belief that we are ever. I don't believe right now. I don't trust this club. I don't trust them. That's all I want to say.
Yeah. Just to wrap this up. You guys know me. I'm beyond delusional sometimes in terms of optimism and positivity, but these players have broken me. They've absolutely broken me. I called 4-0 yesterday, and it made me look like a fucking clown. I think we lose both games. I possibly get a draw against Bayern, maybe. But we get battered against Liverpool. I don't, as Benno mentioned there, I don't trust these fucking players anymore. I don't trust them. I don't like them. Only but a handful. I'll back my team till the end. United till I die. United till we die. But they broken me, absolutely broken me. I think we go out of Europe and we get absolutely battered by Liverpool. But I think we'll go through the heartache, but we'll come out the other side eventually.
It's always darkest before the dawn, my big Irish friend.
You said it, brother. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope we beat Bayern, and I hope we fucking kill those fuckers. The other, yeah. Anyway, that's it.
Sorry, Killy.
Unless Benno wants to.
Sorry, just to say one more thing. The big key thing over the next 7 days, I'm expecting for me, it's the manner of the result. If we go to Anfield next week and we just get outplayed, but we left everything on the pitch, not saying I can accept that, but you can just say, do you know what, they were better than us on the day. It's the manner. If we keep repeating what's happened the past few, so it's the manner of the result, not necessarily just the result itself.
Yeah.
Or the performance,
after that
shall we
shit
say?
show yesterday, I just can't. They showed themselves yesterday for who they were yesterday. Why would they put a performance in against Bayern? Why would they put a performance in against Liverpool? They should have put a performance in yesterday. Yeah, anyway.
I'll sign off just by saying to all the younger Man United fans out there, we've been through tough times before. We've been through dark days before. We've played in Division 2. By the way, highest attendances ever recorded in Division 2. But anyway, we've had shit teams. I've seen some shit teams. I grew up when Liverpool were dominating, not just England but Europe, right? But the difference is the teams in the 80s, they were shit, right? But they tried the bollocks off. And we had great players who just didn't kind of gel at times. This team's temporary, right? It will come back. It will come back. Is it easy right now? No. But just stick with it.
Because no matter what, it's bad at the minute, but win, lose or draw, United till we fucking die. Up the fucking Reds.
I hated it. Don't ever fucking ignore it. Up the fucking Reds. Come on now.
Hey. It's been emotional, brothers, viewers and listeners. Thank you so much. And good night and God bless. Up the fucking Reds and the magnificent 24/7 Reds. Thank you very much to my co-host Chase, Daza, Benno, Masood. Lots of love. And Jono, there he is to finish it up.
Jono's making a final.
Hey.
Yes.
Yeah, sit
Get
the
the
fuck
caravan,
down.
Jono.
Sit the
You
fuck
came
down.
in at the right time. Here, Jono, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
We're the boys in
I was
Jono,
literally
how do you
jumping in to
finish
do
that
that.
off there? It's still on, still running.
We're still on.